We're here today with Nick Koumalatsos. Sorry if I butchered that, brother. But we're on episode 28 of the Hard to Kill podcast. Nick, thanks for joining us today, bro. It's great to have another Nick on the podcast. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Great, man. Thanks for having me on. I like the name of this podcast, so I can somebody invited me to a podcast and said, Nick, we want you to have the podcast, but you can't have any sort of profanity. That's not this podcast, right?
Absolutely not. Come on.
Okay.
We're real.
Just making sure.
How can you even consider that like a? I feel like podcasts are like the new thing where you can be real on, be yourself.
Right.
You know.
Right. I don't know who they're marketing to, and I'm like, you want me on the podcast?
Yeah.
Have you seen any of my videos?
So, Nick, this is my brother Andreas. He actually was a doc, and he did a pump over to Afghanistan with us.
Excellent. Where were you?
Yeah.
Dre or me?
Well, both of you guys.
I'm Dreas.
Dre's in Cali. I'm in Boston.
Where were you in the Marine Corps?
So when I met Dre, I got attached to 2-3, and we pumped out of K-Bay together. I was with MP Company out of 3rd Mardiv in Okinawa.
And when did you go?
This was in 2010.
2010. Yeah, we were there same time. I
So
was up in I was in Herat province.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Actually, we went through there, Dre. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we did. We stopped at their fucking army base that had like a movie theater in Leclerc Bone, some shit there.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
In Herat?
It's like the first time we had seen civilian life in like 5 months.
Felt like
I missed that. They did have an Italian pizza joint there, which was dope. You got like legit Italian pizza.
Really?
Yeah. And they had a liquor, and the Itais had a liquor store there too, like straight bottom shelf to top shelf liquor store.
Roughing it, huh?
Yeah. Italians, man. They don't play around.
So I mean, we've been going through your content, bro, and you're killing it right now, man. You're everywhere. I'd start out. I mean, I noticed that you dabble a little bit in jiu-jitsu. How's that going?
I love it. Actually, I'm an owner at the gym.
So I opened something about you having a couple gyms and having to close down during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah. So that wasn't Crest. That was my actual like training facility.
Gotcha.
We got raided by the cops
man,
during COVID. And it was real cool.
What a crazy situation, huh?
I mean, just absolutely ridiculous, dude. Nonetheless, dude, here's what makes it worse. We got raided. One of the main cop that was kind of driving the train behind it. And this is before people were wearing masks. This is like right at the beginning, right? Before any of that stuff happened, he was a retired Marine.
What?
Yeah, bro. And I was like, dude, you forgot where you came from. Like, you forgot your oath.
Seriously?
He's like, no, you forgot where you came from. He's like, I am the law. Follow the rules.
Just one of those.
Oh, dude, totally. I mean, we all known him. But it was funny because a couple of the guys that I guess worked underneath him messaged me when that video went viral. And they were like, dude, I worked for him in the Marine Corps. He was a dick then.
Oh, no, go figure.
Yeah, right. So
guys like that don't change, bro. You know that.
Man. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you follow UFC at all?
Yeah.
Big fight this weekend. I don't know if you're plugged into it, dude. Volk against Makhachev.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah, it is for sure. I'm pretty pumped up for it. But yeah, I've dabbled in jiu-jitsu, boxed a little bit, but I think it's just a great avenue to kind of jump into in the gym in general, just to sharpen your blade and stay active and trying something new all the time. I'm really
here's the big thing, man, is because I didn't start jiu-jitsu until I was 38 years old.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I was almost 10 years out of the Marine Corps, out of special operations before I started. And the reason why was professionally, I'd done very well up until that point. I was kind of like the king of my castle, the king of my circle, right? There wasn't many things that I guess challenged me or put me outside of my comfort zone. Like I was very protected inside of my circle. You know what I mean? And I was like, it's time for that. You know, it was time for that uncomfortability. It was time for me to go outside of something that I'm not good at, that I'm not comfortable with, and really put myself out there.
Gotcha.
That's, you know, growth happens on the fringe. And if you're not uncomfortable and you're not doing hard shit, well, you're not growing. So I put myself, and it's funny, man, almost everybody goes through the same situation. You know, it's like 5:30 in the morning. You're standing, you know, you're parked outside of this place waiting to walk in. Essentially, you know, you're like the new kid in school. You know, I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm about to walk into a place where a bunch of grown men are going to kick my ass.
Yep.
Like it's like, okay, we're going to kick your ass in the parking lot at 3 p.m. after school. You know it's coming, and you have to willingly walk into it. And a lot of guys, and it's funny, like I know some badass dudes that told me, man, my first time, like I almost left. Like I almost turned the truck around and like left.
It's not easy. It's not easy going from being the king of the castle to all of a sudden getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a humbling experience.
It is. But if you can broach that wall, man, there's so many benefits. And I'm not even talking about, let's not even talk about the martial arts side of just being able to manhandle people. Like, because once you have just a little bit of training, the average person, I mean, you just have a different confident ability to
Absolutely.
be able to like physically manhandle another man.
For sure.
Right. And that gives you another level. But beside that, you got to think about, you know, and I read a little bit about your podcast before coming on. You know, you talk about like post-traumatic stress. You talk about, you know, the stress of just being a man in general and trying to make ends meet and trying to make, you know, build wealth and take care of your family and bills and jobs and growth and, you know, all this kind of stuff that we as men deal with. Right. And my wife is so wonderful. And she always like, man, she's like, I'm so thankful that I'm not a man, because she's been on some of my coaching calls with men and some of my other groups that I do. And she's like, we talk about, you know, cash flow and, you know, creating passive income and bills and the stress of it all. And she's like, man, if I had to deal with all this shit, I would want to throw up.
It's stressful.
So she would never sleep. Yeah. It is. And for us, it's stressful, but it's not stressful that it puts us down. It's like, it's just what we deal with. Right. It's
Absolutely.
just it's the shit that we deal with. And, but dude, when you go to jiu-jitsu, you could drive there worried about your mom, worried about your wife, worried about your kids, your bills, your debt, all this shit that's going on. Your dog needs this person needs that, what, you know, something that's happening, you know, the fucking government, whatever Biden said recently, how the VA is not doing it. Yeah. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like all this shit's in your head. And then you show up and you start rolling with grown ass men trying to kill you. Guess what? You're not thinking about
Any of that
shit. None of it. Not one freaking bit of it. None of it. Because the moment that you drift or you think about something else, you're getting choked the fuck out.
Absolutely.
So it is an amazing thing, because yes, it's scary. Yes, it's hard, but it's an amazing thing because for men who are all over the place and our minds all over the place, we become very present very quickly. So we talk a lot about yoga. We talk a lot about meditation. We talk a lot about these things. Those things are very difficult. To take a guy who is operating in the red and get him to meditate, bro, you're going to cause a panic attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Took me 8 years to learn how to meditate. You know, 8 fucking years. People are like, well, I can't meditate. No, motherfucker, you haven't tried.
Because it's not easy. It's not just something you can do.
No, it's not something you just do. Yeah. It took me 8 years to achieve a level of meditation where it was actually true meditation, where I went into like a different realm, if so to speak. 8 years.
That's nuts. That's dedication right there.
But what I can do is I can take a guy who's really stressed out, put him on the mats, and guess what? He's present like that. Can't think about shit other than surviving.
That's awesome.
And then what happens is there's a dopamine hit, right? There's a dopamine hit. You're getting exhausted. You're tired. You're expending energy. Your whole system is working, going from like sitting on the couch, being the dysfunctional vet or the broken vet or broken human being, broken man, you know, complaining about all your problems, to you ain't got any energy to think about anything. And it's just all out, all that stress, all them thoughts, all left right there. And that's why I think it's a beautiful sport, because it's different than working out. It's different than doing something else. It's different than, even boxing. It's a special thing. And especially people that are struggling with mental health, or struggling with depression, or struggling with stress and cortisol and everything, or even weight and, whatever else is going on. It's a beautiful thing because, man, it just makes you real present, and you leave all that shit on the mats.
I love how you put that, bro, because I'm really at a point in my life right now is I never thought it would take this spin to go into like what I'm doing right now, into podcasting, or, talking about mental health or stuff military related, because I kind of just did an interview on the soft white underbelly, and I didn't really have any direction, any course of what I wanted to do, but the feedback I got from it really kind of molded me into a certain direction. And I started realizing that I could help people like myself. And I didn't at the time, keep in mind, I'm like 10 years. I got out in 2014. So I'm like 9-10 years out of the military. Yeah. And I didn't really realize what I was going through while I was going through it. It kind of was just happening to me. I didn't keep in mind, when you're in the military, you have such a high op tempo. You're doing so much. You don't really have a time to self-reflect or
300 mile train. That's what I call it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really look at yourself and be like, oh, this is what I'm going through. This is why I'm going through it. This is how I can fix it. And yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, jiu-jitsu is just another avenue you can plug into to try to, get rid of some of those demons. And I love that you found that for yourself. And now you take a lot of, you have a lot of shorts, and I kind of went through a few of them, and you take some, I don't want to say hard or firm stances, but, stances on, for example,
they're hard and they're firm. That's for sure.
One of them that stuck out to me was, hold on,
I probably know which one. One I got a lot of shit for, probably.
I'm assuming. Sorry, I have a.
You're gonna make me sweat and get all worked up and start yelling at the camera.
Well, someone said something to me about that. I get active when we talk about stuff like this, but you can't help it, dude. You're passionate about it. We've actually gone through it. It was what you said about not being a disabled veteran is not a job. Yeah, you knew it. Yeah. It is not a job or an excuse. And to an extent, you're correct, because I know a lot of guys that just really use that as an excuse to not do anything and just bitch about their lives. But to a certain extent, some of it, I mean, can be debilitating, man. Because I mean, from a first person,
play the devil's advocate. First of all, let me caveat this, Nick. Everything that I say is at a deep, 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 deep place of love. When I'm hard on somebody, it's because I truly give a shit about humanity. I truly give a shit about men. I want them to do better. I want them to be better. I just found that empathy is not always the way. And majority of the times, empathy with men is not always the way. Out the gate. Empathy is a tool. But what happens is when you're in that kind of depressed state, you use empathy as a drug. And it's like the more you give, the more that they want.
I feel that.
So when I yell at people and I tell people things and I say all the shit that I say, it is at a very, very deep, it comes from a very, very big place of love and a desire for them to do better, because I have found my purpose on this earth is to inspire, educate, and motivate others to live a healthier and successful life.
Hell yeah.
That is my purpose. I am a humanitarian of men to make them have a better life. So when I say the things that I say, it's coming from a place of love and want them to do better. But what I will not do is cater to your fucking weakness, and I will not cater to your fucking excuses.
I can completely understand that.
Anyways, I just want to caveat that, but go ahead.
Dre, weigh on this a little bit. How do you feel about that?
Shit, I've been waiting to talk the whole time. Nick's got the one-on-one.
Go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to say something about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because, obviously each one of us had a similar path and, different results, but the pathway was similar for me, myself, after I had a couple surgeries and, I was in my mental health state as well. Eventually, once I started climbing out and started building some habits around me, actually, the first thing that I did was I enrolled in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. local gym here, and got my children into it too, my sons. And so
awesome, man.
That became a real healthy habit for me. I ended up hurting my knee again that I had surgically repaired. So I stopped doing it, but my children kept going, and it's really made my son a way tougher individual. And it's interesting that you had mentioned that, because I don't know, maybe that's just something like veterans do, because I had never been in it either. You know, I was a corpsman. I had some McMab training, and I grew up in New Mexico. So, you know, you're pretty familiar with fighting when you grow up down there. So I had never really done anything besides McMap as far as on the organizational level for instruction for fighting. So when I did the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was definitely something that challenged me in a way that was healthy. And, you know, you were around men. And at that time, I hadn't really been around anybody. I got off social media. I stopped talking to everybody in my life. And so it was like barely pulling me out, but it was just a group of men, and they were even older men. And there was like a certain time where you could go where it was older guys, and some of the newer guys would go there. And so, you know, the instructor, I told him about my surgeries and stuff. He was like, you know, why don't you go to the older one? And made some good friends. And, you know, that was like my first step back into society, where I started talking to people outside of my house. And, you know, I was on a schedule again.
Community.
Or exactly. It started,
definitely,
it was just a little piece of it, but that eventually led to, you know, doing more, and then getting back into school, and then learning, and then creating my business, and then, you know, now selling it and starting other things. And it starts with the little things, but it was interesting that,
for sure,
that you had made that roadmap with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And, you know, I've never read any of your books. Nick introduced me to you yesterday, and I was pretty impressed with your stuff.
Do you know what it is, man? It's action. You took action, because one action starts another action, and it's centrifugal force, right? But I would challenge you to get back into it, man. I blew my meniscus. I've had lots of injuries. My business partner and main jiu-jitsu coach, just had a full ACL repair. So he's completely
ouch.
No excuses. Now when you're talking to Nick.
They've got some, I'll message you. They've got some really cool braces. This is by no means an ad, but I just found this Anaconda brace. It has this wrap that goes around both sides. So it kind of stabilizes your knee from externally from lateral movement. And that's been a huge game changer for me.
That's awesome.
In training. So I think you still haven't been there, but I want to do the devil's advocate, because you said that there was like a potential, like for the most part, that you're disabled, that there is not an excuse. Tell me, either one of you, lay it on me. Give me the scenario where it would be an excuse.
I don't think it's an excuse. Let me say this, Nick, because I know you wanted me to talk about it. I don't think it's an excuse. My only critique was, and because I'm a person just like you. Trust me, when I talk to my wife.
Oh, we're all the same. That's another thing with men. There's no special butterflies. Everybody thinks that their situation is special. You're not a special butterfly. You're going through the same shit that every other man's going through in their life.
Sure. No, and my approach too is really like, you know, don't cater to the weakness. You know, I raise my children like that, and that's the type of mindset. But I understand, like, you know, the narrative is the narrative, and that's your stance. Mm-hmm. My only critique was, you know, some people, and I get it, they're not going to hear that. Like, especially in that time, they didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So like for me, what I really just needed was the community aspect. That's what I think really woke me up. So, you know, like I would probably come at it like, you know, meet them where they're at, you know, break it down to them that there's other ways to do things. Cause, you know, for example, I didn't want to go get into community. And so I formed an online business that I could build here in my room, that I didn't have to be out in the public and stuff like that. That was not really something that I thought of in the beginning. Yeah. You know, so like once I started getting information on different ways to be or different ways to function in my life, then that kind of like broke the little weak shell to where I was like, you know what, I need to start getting back to my training and my habits. And then, you know,
you just proved my point. You just proved my point right though. That being disabled is not a job.
I agree. It's not. I just think when you come at it super hard in the beginning, I don't know a percentage, but you know, 50% of the people are just not going to hear it. You lost them on that part, you know.
And the reality is you're not
speaking to them.
The reality is you're not going to reach everybody, because not everybody wants to change. Not everyone wants to help. Sure. But at that point with that video, one, it was very targeted for a very particular reason to get people's attention. And it got some of your guys' attention, right? It's like, whoa, that's fucking drastic. you know,
Let me,
but it is, that wakes people up.
I would have just said step one for anybody is to seek out the resources that are available there to
see what you saw was a 30-second clip of a 5-minute video.
No doubt. Yeah.
The 5-minute video is offering solutions and telling them what to do. The 30-second clip is just to piss people off.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a game. You got to. I totally understand.
Reels them in.
But the reality is my point being is this.
The point is
on the couch. Yeah, you're sitting on the couch feeling sorry for yourself. You're like, what do you? Because I get, with my coaching business, I get vets that, because of my background, vets will follow me and they'll say, hey, I'm in that same boat. I want help. And I'm like, one of my first questions is, I have a series of questions that I send people. What do you do? What is your profession? I'm a disabled vet. Well, that's not a job. So what is it that you do?
Cool.
I'm disabled. That's
what is your profession?
Yeah. What is your profession?
I had to do it.
Yeah. And they don't have one. They just stick, well, I'm 100% permanent and total. Yeah, me too. And I own 4 businesses and I'm a managing partner of a 5th. What do you do? And the reason why is they've allowed themselves to do that, right? They've allowed themselves to go to that place and accept that. But the reality is there's guys that have blown off arms and legs and have TBIs and post-traumatic stress that are running, that have started their own businesses, that are doing speaking engagements, that are, getting brand deals and writing books and, starting on, like the sky is the limit. If you have a brain, the only person that can't do it is the comatose person. The person that has you're so fucked up. You got hit so bad that you're just not cognitively there anymore. And even that person could probably do something.
Can I butt in a little bit real quick?
Absolutely.
So I don't want to say I have a different situation, but I really feel that I kind of got lost in the different aspects of the VA. Cause I hate saying this every episode, but on our deployment, we were pretty kinetic for a little while. I took a round in a firefight right to the side of my head. And we took a couple hits from IEDs. And, I'm sure half of the guys that I was with have TBI issues and different things like that. But I don't have in my area, I don't have a very big military presence, I guess. And I didn't really have anyone to guide me. And I don't want to use that as an excuse either, but I kind of heard a lot about what I should do from different people. And I just went straight to the VA. And it was a very, very disheartening experience because a lot of people in the VA, I'm sorry to listen, the VA has done a lot for me and I appreciate what they've done for me, but they do not know what the fuck they're doing with this stuff. And if you have half a brain, you can see that. And it's a very scary experience when you go through that.
But when you don't know and you're first coming out, unless it's very interesting. Like us as veterans now, it's very clear. Obviously, the VA doesn't know what they're doing and they don't know how to treat people appropriately, and nor do they give a shit. It's socialized healthcare. But when you're an active duty member and people just say, well, you go to the VA, right? Like you check into the VA and they've got your back. They take care of you. Like our perception at that time, right? You and I got out almost at the same time. We didn't know any of that. We just thought that's what you did, right? And then whatever they said, you took. And I call it in my book, which I need to get you guys copies.
Please do.
If you haven't read it, the VA starter pack. I mean, how many of you got the VA starter pack where you walked in, checked in, and you got 11 sets of prescription pills?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that definitely happened.
That's how they treat things.
Boost Bar, Abilify, Zoloft. I can go on for
uppers, downers, Prazosin. You know what I mean? Adrenal blockers. I literally just dropped a comment on a guy. He goes, "Hey man, you said Prazosin, and they gave that to me. I don't even know why they gave it to me." I'm like, "It's because you're having bad dreams, so they gave you Prazosin to knock off the bad dreams." Here's the trick. Here's the problem with it. It is a adrenal blocker, which means it makes you more docile. Let's take vets and make them more docile.
Yeah, no shit.
Right. So, the whole point to that is, even with you, Nick, yes, you didn't know. It's fine. It's okay to not know. And it's okay to know that you don't know. But my point is, do the work and seek help.
I can feel that. I got
you. Know what I mean? It's like, well, the VA didn't do it. Well, fuck the VA then. Go fucking get help. Well, it's like a 2-year-old going, I can't.
That's true.
No, buddy.
No, I hear that.
We, can't, never could. That's, it's the old thing. It's the same thing with us.
Now we kind of dove into this because we're clearly all wanted to get some of this going, because I mean, it's not often that I get someone that kind of walks in the same light that we did. I get a lot of different kinds of people on my pod, but could you kind of give us a little bit of your background, man? Where you come from, what exactly you did? I mean, I see that you were a Raider, which is fucking badass. If you could just give us a little bit about where exactly you come from.
Absolutely. So grew up really poor. It's funny you said New Mexico. My first fight ever. Not first fight. I'll take that back. Definitely not my first fight. The first fight that I won was in New Mexico when I stood up to a bully. So anyways, grew up really poor, moving around, just me and my brother. My mom worked sometimes 2 jobs to make ends meet for us, moved around every 6 months. By the time I was 13, I was a 2-time convicted felon, had joined a gang. Really just kind of a lost youth. Really wanted like a positive male mentor in my life to kind of guide me. I didn't have that. So when you in the lack of positivity, you're going to find that connection, that community that Andreas was talking about. But you're going to find it in the negative ways, right? It's like the same like as a kid. Like either you're going to get, if you don't give them positive attention, they're going to do something so they can get a negative attention, right? So that's what I did. I found it in the negative ways. Ended up, having 2 felonies as an adult by the time I was 13 years old. Was on community service for 2 years, and then had the brilliant idea of joining the Marine Corps. They told me no. Took me 2 years to get in the Marine Corps. Anyways, got in the Marine Corps, and then just leveled up from there, man. I got hurt, lost my my boat space as an infantry Marine, which actually worked out really well. Went admin, hated it, got in trouble, ended up taking selection for Force Reconnaissance, did a stint in as a Force Recon Marine. And then when MARSOC stood up, took selection, moved over to, we just kind of, one flag went down, one flag went up, but I actually got the opportunity to go through selection, and went through selection and spent the last half of my career as a Marine Raider. After that, got out and thought that life was just going to be super awesome. And I was so oblivious to the transition. And like you said, Nick, it was that while you're it's like 300 miles an hour, right? You're just going as fast as possible. You have no idea the people that you're losing, the effect.
That's a big one. That's a big one right there.
It affects you immediately. But you have to, like, the mission, like you're on an op. Like those things don't happen typically on base or on the FOB. They happen on an op. You're still in bad guy land. You still have to, like, the fact that motion right there, that you lose a guy on an op, bird comes in, picks him up, and you continue the mission.
Yeah, that's true.
I just talked to Doc. It's the first time since I had seen him since we left country.
That's right. That's right. We have another doc that was on our deployment, and we took a hard hit over there, and our captain and one of our lead NCOs had to get casevac'd out, and it was a pretty shitty experience for us. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with something like that, but it's like a shot to the heart over there when you're, the guy leading you gets taken out, and it just sucked.
Where did you get out at, Nick? You were stationed with MARSOC.
They sent me to fucking Quantico, my friend.
No, Nick K.
Nick K. My bad.
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then you still stayed over there, or what? And started your business?
Yeah, I did. I did do almost a 3-year stint in Oki at 3rd Recon. But all the rest of the time was right here on the East Coast.
When was
that? 2005, 2007.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
You want a Schwab?
Yeah, of course. So I was at 2nd Force, went to 3rd Recon. The deal was for me to come back to 2nd Force. Right when I came back, right before that, they rolled up their 2nd Force flag and then turned into what is now 2nd Raider Battalion. And that's what I showed back up to. And that's why I took selection. But I got out and like you guys were saying, like the same thing. Just thought I wrote a book about it. It's called 7 Stages of Transition, the Excommunicated Warrior. And I started to go through these stages. And the difference is I had some really good mentors. And man, dude, we're talking like, I wouldn't say a suicide attempt, but a suicide plan.
Yeah.
Like life got dark for me. Very, very dark.
I can feel that.
Typical, like literally textbook veteran story. Got out, got a job, pretty much almost ruined that job. Got divorced, lost my kids, filed bankruptcy, almost committed suicide. I mean, bro, total statistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was the guy that was like, post-traumatic stress isn't real. That's for pussies, blah, 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 blah. The horrible shit that I've said is unbelievable. But nonetheless, I was fortunate enough to meet some people, start helping veterans. And I think it's a beautiful thing when we get together and try to help one another, because if you really think you're bad off, like you're feeling depressed on the couch, and this is kind of I don't want to get down the rabbit hole because I can start teaching. If you're really depressed sitting on the couch, get off the fucking couch, go help somebody else. You think you have it bad, somebody's got it way worse.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like you've got it way worse, and somebody's got it way worse. Go help someone, and I guarantee you will feel better. Go serve someone else, and you will feel better about yourself. And I think that's what happens with veterans is they have this desire, and I've heard it from both of you too, this desire to help other people. Right. And by doing so, it kind of, in a way helps them, even though they're still fucked up themselves. My lesson to all of that is, really focus on yourself, really get yourself whole. The more because I did the same thing, but when I really got whole, when I really made that transition over and became a healthy, stable person, the measure of effectiveness that I had on the world was 10 times.
For sure.
I'm sure.
By just the kind of like onesies and twosies here and there. Like that's when shit really got changed. That's when really I changed people's lives. So my advice is always to do that. And what I was saying was I had a couple people, Carl Munger from Gallant Few, Kirk Weisler, and a handful of other people, which I can introduce to get them on the podcast, and they can kind of go into detail on some of the mental health stuff. But they held me accountable and they got me in programs. And because I was helping other veterans, I was vetting programs and things. So like I went to a 2-week inpatient brain clinic. You know what I mean? So like, and it wasn't through the VA. That's what I'm trying to say is like
keyword.
I wasn't waiting to get help.
Gotcha.
I was taking action in my rehab. I was
being
taking
proactive.
Action. I was being proactive I was, doing the hormone panel test and figuring out that, oh shit, I do have type 2 hypergonadism and I need to be on, HRT for the rest of my life. This is a big deal. So when people hit me like, well, not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. No, you can. Don't wait for things to happen for you. You go out there and fucking get them. And that was the whole thing with the thing. Like, where's your warrior spirit? You go down range and you're like, no failed mission. We're going to fucking kill the enemy no matter what. I don't care what it takes. We're going to accomplish the fucking mission and get the objective completed. And then we come home and it's like, the VA won't help me. That's it. Like, bitch, please. And that's the point. And that's the point of that video. And that's the reason why it pisses people off, because the people that it really pissed off is because
it's real for them.
It's real for them.
Yeah. You're right.
Or they're in that position and they know deep inside of them. They've been telling themselves.
Damn, that hits hard, man. Shit.
So, it's the voice inside.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't know Nick K at all. I just met you, but literally my story is exactly like your story. I'm telling you, I did so much experimental research with UCSD. The best one I ever did was shock therapy, where they shocked the shit out of me and I had to tap out basically. And that literally, after about 40 minutes of that, I was so relaxed the whole day. I was like, I felt like I just got out the gym, but I was searching out different ways.
Resets frequencies and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. Not to mention being part of these research groups, I felt like I was helping out the community again, because I was subjecting myself to these modalities that might help other people. So it's like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the seeking out your own help, not waiting for the VA, even though I did have a good VA experience. I live here in California next to La Jolla.
Some do.
Probably the most
absolutely
well-funded VA in the nation. And I had a handhold the whole time. And that's how I actually know all these resources and turn around and help people. But literally, like the community aspect, everything you're talking about, like your steps that you're walking through, I've never read in these books, but I've been doing the same steps. It's like, it's pretty crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's, and I said in the book, and that's why. And you take veteran out of it. Like I work with men that were not veterans, our age group, fathers, husbands, and bro, they're struggling with the same shit.
Really?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a buddy that
men in this country are just hurting as a whole.
I had a buddy that played college basketball. He ended up getting injured. It didn't really work out. But after that, he didn't have any sense of identity. Like, who am I? I don't play basketball
Imploded,
anymore.
huh?
My practice is gone now. And he hasn't really found his way since then. But like you said, it's not just the military veteran group. It's really men in general. And I'm sure it extends to women too. It's like, it's an identity thing, and it's a self preservation thing. You think you're just surviving, you got your $2,000 a month or whatever, but it's like, bro, you have passive income. You can use that to boost up into making your business. I started a business that I'm about to sell for 7 figures in 2019 I started with $1,800. That was all the money we had. I'm about to sell it for 7 figures.
Killing it.
And that was because I did it on my own. I went and researched it. I used my passive income from the VA to sustain our bills, so I could spend all my day on YouTube and PDF files reading about how to do compliance for the government for these baby products and stuff like that. And I actually wrote a book too, bro, Freelance to Fortune, which I'm about to publish, which basically tells people like, yo, it's not directly centered at vets, but the way I came out of it was from being the vet, where it's like, yo, you have a lot of extra time. You have the internet. You can make a lot of money on the internet. Here are the ways right here. Boom, 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 boom. And I think when you do that, some people will open their eyes on the couch and they're like, well, wait a minute, and then that's when these things go join Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, go join the VFW. When I joined the VFW, those cats, they weren't even all pogues because they had been in foreign wars. So, they had more, cause it's hard to even find a group of veterans that have been through the shit,
Yeah, hell yeah, it is, dude.
Oh, I don't have enough pencils and stuff. It's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, we didn't even have power for the first 6 months of our deployment. Like, we had to wait till it was nighttime to even use the water bottles because it was so hot. And, not to mention the combat aspect, but you go join the VFW, you go join the little community, you get online, someone like Nick K's already made a roadmap, someone like me is coming out with a roadmap. There are people out there are resources that can help you get into it. I mean, look, Nick had a hard road. He started his podcast. He got on, Softwire Underbelly, got a couple million, bounced that off to his podcast. He's got 2,000 subscribers, a good little following. We've got you on here.
That's big for me, man. Once again, thanks for coming on here, bro. I really appreciate that.
You guys, you're proving all of my points right.
Facts. I'm about to buy your book too. So
you're proving all my points right. And that's my thing is like, if you seriously have an issue and you're like, listen, man, I physically can't leave my house without help. It's like, dude, there's a guy on Amazon. I've talked about it a lot because for some reason, it just floors me. There's a guy on Amazon that's selling lined notebook paper.
I remember you saying that in the video.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Bro,
like 8,000 a month or something.
8,000 a month. And I don't know if you do video. Lined notebook paper that he just put on his computer and then made a cover and then sells it on Amazon and profits $8,000. Bro, you're selling lined. Like,
bro, my buddy started selling on Amazon confetti cannons, was making like 20, 30K a month profit. I was like, what are you doing? Told me about it. That's when I went and researched, made my baby product company. The highest month we grossed 38K in 1 month profit.
That's amazing.
Doing
bro.
like 130K revenue.
I'm so stoked for you.
Thank
but
you,
that's my point is it doesn't matter what it is. It can be done.
It can.
Like you can, but I just want guys to go, the guys that are the tough internet guys, the big internet tough veterans, right? the macho guys sitting in their living rooms, depressed, talking shit to everybody else. Those guys. I want those guys to take their warrior spirit that they had and apply and take the same thing and apply it in their daily life now.
For sure.
The same drive, the same no quit attitude, and just apply it to your daily life. It will change everything. You know what? And the thing is what people, and this is what I did, and I'm sure you guys did too. You join the military, you go do a bunch of hard shit, right? It's shitty. Like the Marine Corps and the military, if you're in the combat side of things, it's shitty, bro. It fucking sucks. Like legitimately sucks. All right. Yep. Now, but what's ironic about this, and if you read every single book about manhood, I mean, I wish I got a stack. This over here is just nothing but books. Every single one of them, up to like the Bible, says men need to do hard things. And if I say, hey, and I've had hundreds of men, and I go ask them, I say, what's the biggest achievement you've had in your life? What's some of the most biggest achievements you've had? A lot of veterans will be like, oh, my time in the Marine Corps. Wait a minute. That was shitty. That sucked. All you told was talk bad about it. It was hard. Some guys are like, I ran an ultra marathon. I did this. I prepped for a bodybuilding show for 2 years. This is what blows my mind. The most fulfilling things in men's life, typically, almost 99% of the time, is some sort of very difficult, hard thing they did.
Facts.
So what happens is us in the military. How much of your audience is military? A lot of it, probably.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah.
So what happens is we kind of rest on our laurels. I did it. I'm speaking from experience. So, I mean, I was in special operations. I mean, every time I turned around, I was taking another fucking selection process for something to try to prove myself that I could still be here. Right. And then I get out and I'm like, fuck, I did it. Okay. I've achieved this level of success in my life. Now I don't have to do things hard anymore. I don't have to choose the hard shit. I can choose the easy shit because I've done the hard shit and I've made it.
That's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah, I hear you.
What happened?
Mindset.
What happens when you do that? Depression, stress, anxiety, unhappiness, seeking pleasure over purpose, bottles, pills, women, drugs, boom, 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 boom.
X.
Just came full circle on me.
Yep. So the truth is, and this is why I'm actually talking to a guy. I'm talking to a guy right now who's actually in. He's about to get out. And I'm like, thank fucking God you're messaging me right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will, because we will change.
Save you years.
Right? Years, bro. Like you're going to save you years.
Money, problems, please. Thank God you could do that.
Like, and so I'm like, dude, if I can get a hold of this guy now, put him in the Agoge, I mean, like his whole trajectory is going to be different. But I had to go, you, all of us had to do it the hard way. We had to figure it out. We had to realize that, it was the hard things that made us who we were.
Yep.
That gave us happiness.
It's a badass name, by the way.
So I'm Greek, so I had to slide that one in there.
Gotcha.
Sorry. So anyways, when I figured all of that out, that's when things started to change. When I started waking up, very early in the morning, 7 days a week, started getting in, ice baths every morning at like 5 a.m. Nobody wants to do that shit. Do you know what I mean? Nobody wants to do that shit. But it's that stuff that actually gives you purpose, puts you on a routine, makes you accomplish objectives, and it ultimately makes you happier than anyone else.
Bro, I've been preaching the same shit. I've been telling Nick the same shit too.
Yeah, yes.
You need to be getting up early, and like that's the start of it all. And
routine is everything.
The same mindset that's like, babe, my wife would say something like, "Oh, I thought you used to take cold showers." Like, yeah, I did, and I don't want to do it again because I already did it. But ultimately, like you said, those are the things that made you who you were.
Right.
So if you're not doing those things anymore, of course, you're going to lose that little edge, And so it's
right.
You just said that's a good clip.
So what would you say to some of these veterans that are, struggling real time right now with PTSD. Exactly what you just laid out. You know, get out of I don't know, some of the antidepressants or SSRIs and start getting in veteran groups or
I'm so, because of who I am now, I'm so drastic. I'd rip their life apart.
I hear you.
What are you doing now? And I just made a video about this. You'll probably see it. What are you doing right now? If the shit you're doing right now, if you're depressed and anxious, everything needs to change. Your friends need to change. Your routine needs to change. You need to go do some hard shit. And yes, is it going to be uncomfortable? Are you going to want to wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning? No, you're not. But if you're happy where you're at, cool. Stay there in your fucking tent of misery and live there for the rest of your life. But if you want it to be better, you want to make more money, you want to get the hot chick and marry the hot woman and fucking have awesome kids and have a fucking high value life, well, follow me, motherfucker. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be rewarding.
For sure.
For sure.
So
we need more people leading the way like that, because I think that's what it is, where a lot of times people just don't even know what to do next, where it's like, that's why I wrote Freelance of Fortune. It's like, yo, you can literally make some side, like get a $200 little social media content writing. You get 4 of those. That's $800 a month. You start there, you know, and you just,
so you'll appreciate this.
You got to start with the little things, like you had said in the beginning though, too.
Our group program, our group program is $299 a month. All right. That's just the group. We have higher tiers. But if you want it in the group program, that gives you access to 8 calls with me a month. 8 call I get for an hour. Twice a week. I deliver mentorship calls to our community, all tiers. But the tier 3, if you come on longer, is cheaper. But just say you want to do monthly, is $299 a month. Now these guys are hurting. Guys are hurting, man. Depressed, hurting. They need help. And they're like, oh, I can't afford it. I understand that. I understand an extra $299 can be a car payment, right? For some people. 6 hours a weekend doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, Lyft.
Pays for it. Yeah, I hear that.
Pays for it. Now, but this is the mindset I want people to have. 6 hours a weekend. Like I got a guy that was a teacher. He works what? 7 to 2, Monday through Friday, maybe a little extra hours for teacher meetings and this and that and course curriculum. Monday through Friday. He's like, sorry, man, teacher salary can't do it. What are you doing on the weekends?
Yeah.
Nothing. Move the needle in your life. Put the extra work in, 6 hours a day, or 3 hours on Saturday, 3 hours on Sunday. Make the extra money. Get in these communities who's talking about, you know, creating passive income, you know, how to leverage your assets, where to put your money and to make it create more money, how to build a 7-figure fucking company with $400 like I did.
Bam.
Like he did for $1,800.
Yeah.
And how to get the resources from the VA, even the VA, you get into both rehab, they will get you a laptop. They will get you started on
right. There is, and that's the thing is, but they're like, no, I can't do it. I can't afford it. Well, that's where I'm talking about that warrior mindset.
For sure.
Like go and get it.
Go fucking take that shit.
Take it like you used to.
Like you used to.
Yes. Thank you, bro.
So anyways, that's what I do. I take guys who are ready to, and I ask them, I'm like, hey, how fed up with the way things are? 1 through 10. I'm at a 6. Call me back when you're at a 10. Because at a 6, when things get hard, they're going to slide back into their old habits because they're not fed up enough. I want the guy that's at a 10. I want the guy that no matter what I tell him to do, he's like, I will do it because there's no fucking way I'm going back to that life, to that shithole, being depressed on the couch, ready to suck, start at 45. Nope. Not going to do that. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to be a better man. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to build something for my family because it fucking ain't about me. And that's another thing men need to learn is it's not about you. There's too many selfish men out there.
For sure.
You being a badass and you being the best version of yourself ain't got jack and shit to do with you. It's the people that are around you that they need you. They need you to be the top of your game because you're on this planet to serve others.
That's
so if you think that you're going to be a selfish motherfucker and you're just going to do this for yourself, that shit does not get you out of bed in the morning. that why is not strong enough to get you out of bed at 4:30 in the morning to go do 200 burpees in the garage in 120-degree heat for time. But when your kids don't want to see a fat father or die of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or stuck start at 45, or you don't want to get divorced from the love of your life because you're failing, that's what gets you out of bed at 4:30 in the morning to go do hard shit.
Preach.
That's
Well
what
put.
drives the train.
Well put.
Yeah, man.
Couple clips here, bro.
I like it. So, okay. I have a couple other things to ask before we wrap it up. I don't know how you feel about getting into current events, but another thing that I saw that you put out was trauma bonds.
Oh, that came from our head cook at Johnny Slicks. We were doing a podcast with him, and he was like, "You don't have friends," because we're talking about guys that go out and drink together and stuff like that. And he had long time ago, he had gotten a DUI, and he was a Marine as well, and he was actually at MARSOC as a support guy with us. And then I didn't even know him, but he applied for a job, and now he's one of our head cooks at Johnny Slicks. I love how the world comes together, man.
Wait, cooks? I thought Johnny Slicks was like a hair product or grooming, personal care.
Yeah, man, but we manufacture in-house. It's all American made.
Oh, wow.
All American made. Everything is made right here in North Carolina.
Damn, I see you. Okay.
Yeah, we're giving jobs to the community, man. We self-fulfill. Everything is in-house. Almost everything is in-house. We don't make jars and stickers, but we make sure that they're coming from an American source and they're American made and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we actually just recently did a little tour, and a lot of our materials, our raw materials that we use, we went and did a tour to all those vendors, and it was cool to see. We're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars with these other companies, right? Well, not only are we our American-made company giving the community jobs and providing a decent wage for them to have a life with their family and to kind of grow for themselves, but also by us using like these American-made companies, we're also doing it for their companies, and we got to see all their employees that they employ. Anyways, so it was just cool. But anyways, head chef, he had gotten some trouble, and we were talking about it, and he's like, "Bro, you don't have friends, you have trauma bonds." And what it is, and he was basically pointing at vets, talking about how they're not your friends. Those are the people that you guys have trauma with each other, so you gravitate toward each other to either discuss or further go that trauma.
Okay.
And it's like it's the old thing. It's like, simple people talk about people, small people talk about events, and great people talk about ideas. What are you talking? Like, we're talking about ideas. We're talking about concepts. We're talking about how to grow, how to change. Audit the conversations that you're having.
For sure.
Yep. Are you saying, what is it Tony Soprano said? Lowest form of conversation is remember when?
I watch a lot of Sopranos. Hold on.
You didn't catch that one?
No.
That's deep.
It was a good one, man, wasn't it?
Say it again.
Yeah. So, but you have to audit your circle, man. You have to audit the people that you're hanging out with. And that's if you're just hanging out with, vets, and you're like, yeah, man, back in the day, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck?
It doesn't get anywhere.
It's fucking like I am a business owner with a teammate. Josh Hansberger is my business owner with the Agoge. We started it together. I've known the guy for like 15 years. No. Yeah, like 15 years. Guess how much we talk about the old days?
Probably never. You're probably just talking about what we need to get done, what we need to do.
What do we need to get done, bro?
Exactly.
What's up with our families? How do we improve shit? How do we make more money? How do we serve the community better? What do we change? How do we grow? Him and I just got on a call. We talked all about breath work in conjunction with cold exposure and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not because it was a business call. We just wanted to check up on each other, but that's where the conversation went.
Mm-hmm. No, it's important. You should
a different level of where you're at mentally.
Yeah, and also people that are listening, also audit your content. If the content you're watching is not talking like this, is not influencing you, then what is getting put into your brain? You know, and some of these algorithms, they're just going to give you what you're asking it to give you. So you have to get outside of that little algorithm. You know, like my TikTok page is basically an educational page. I don't see any tits. I don't see anything that's not motivation or finance, or because everything I'm watching and sharing and liking, it's building that algorithm to feed me that kind of content. So you can actually be trapped in like a content bubble, and you're never going to grow because the stuff you're putting in your mind isn't stuff that is fertilization for growth, you know. And it's just like the conversation you're having in real life, all of it, you need to be aware of it. It's very important. I think people don't ever put any examination on that.
Here's another way that I do it with my clients. I don't do anything that doesn't give me a return of investment. I don't consume a piece of media that's not giving me a return of investment. I don't do shit that doesn't give me a return of investment. What's the ROI on this? Now, I don't want you to take it like too drastic. Like, well, I mean, you got kids and blah, blah, blah. No, listen, if I'm sitting on the couch watching Curious George with my son for 30 minutes before bed, that is a return of investment. I'm all snuggled up. We're under a blanket. You know, we're watching Crazy Monkey do crazy monkey stuff. He's laughing. I'm laughing. There's a return of investment there. It's not when you're on a Netflix bender on Sunday, you know, watching,
exactly.
You know, that's not a return of investment.
Episode 17.
Yeah. There's an intention. There's an intention with everything that I do, with my routine, with my calendar. Everything needs to be a return of investment. I need to be making a relationship with my kids better. I need to be making a relationship with my wife better. I need to be making more money. I need to be serving my clients better. Everything that I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, actually, even when I'm sleeping, is a return of investment.
For sure.
And if you're just giving people shit, giving people your time, giving people your energy, what are you doing with your life? You're going to get out what you put in.
For sure. There's levels to it. Even when I'm watching the Curious George with my son, my oldest one, especially 7, I'm just telling him, look, that's actually computer images and you can make one too. And then guess what? It's just a voiceover. You seen that mic in daddy's room? Someone's just talking into that mic and then they put it in, and I've showed him how to even make his own videos. He has his own little YouTube channel that we, you know, make videos together, and he learns how to upload it and edit it. And he's 7. But that's because, you know, like you're constantly explaining to him the important parts of life. Not that you can't laugh during the Curious George, but like you can also point those things out too.
Yeah.
And that just starts the mindset that you're talking about. Actually, in my book, I call it opportunity eyes. You always need to have these eyes that are looking for opportunities non-stop. I'm talking about you never stop. You see them, you're like, wait a minute, that could be, oh, I could do something like that. You know, I have 4 patents. They literally came from just watching, observing, and thinking like, wait a minute, you know, we can make that better. And then you stay in that space, you stay in that mindset long enough. You talk to some of these buddies that are also thinkers, you pull ideas back and forth. And before you know it, you've got a brand new idea. You could hit the market with a first mover product, and, you know, you go viral on something because you sit there and think about these ideas and you're not wasting your life or your energy
on nothingness. I hear that.
That's it.
Well, I think we're coming up on an hour here, Nick. Once again,
I got a couple more minutes. You got more questions?
I was going to ask you, do you have any advice? I mean, I'm just kind of starting out in, you know, the podcasting genre, if you will. And, you know, I kind of didn't know which way I should take it. I wanted to help guys like me, you know, address PTSD because it's kind of new. You know, no one really knows really what exactly is the best way to treat it. And I know that veteran suicide is a thing, man. You know, I mean, I interviewed a guy the other day, a captain in the Marine Corps, and he's gave me the stat that 22 guys a day are killing themselves right now. So clearly
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, clearly there's some kind of issue going on here. So knowing that, I mean, I don't know, what way do you think we should go at this, man?
Purpose over pleasure.
Okay.
There's a great book called by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. It was written in 1938 and it was released, I want to say, like in 2011. He wrote it in 1938, and it was so controversial that against the government, the church, the public school system in general, that his family, his wife particularly, did not want him to release it, and they didn't release it until she passed. The trust, actually, I think his kids actually released it. But it talks about the weight of negativity and if you get the audiobook, it's a great book because the author essentially interviews the devil, like kind of like puts him on the stand and interrogates him. and gets him to admit how he controls men. And he does it through pleasure. He does it through weakness.
Damn, that's a real one.
It's a good
right.
book.
So you want to stop veteran suicide? Stop having men chase pleasure. Have them chase purpose.
For sure. Purpose. Well, once you get unplugged from purpose, like you said, bro, I don't want to wake up early for me. I tell my wife all the time, I work better when people are counting on me. Because if I'm just counting on myself, it don't really matter. But when other people are counting on me, I hold myself to a high standard.
Because it ain't about you.
Facts, bro. And that's a true alpha. That's a true leader. Like there's a bad taste in people's mouth when you say alpha, but like a true alpha, if you look in the wild, they are not fighting their own. They're protecting their own. They're actually serving
their community.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we did. And whenever you lose that, you lose a certain sense of purpose. And when you don't have your purpose, you get nihilistic and it's just like, yo, nothing even matters anymore.
Yep.
Or suicide is an option at that point.
So you choose purpose over pleasure. And then next you're going to choose hard over easy. Every time. When you're standing in the shower and you have to do that, the shower's hot and you're like, okay, the last 60 seconds is going to be cold. And that little inner bitch and that little voice in your head's like, oh, you don't have to do it. Maybe tomorrow. It's not a big deal. No one's going to know. As soon as you start negotiating with this voice in your head, do the thing. Do not,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Never negotiate with that voice. Never. As soon as you start having inner dialogue, do the thing.
Okay.
So hard over easy. Hard over easy is this. Alarm goes off. You can choose snooze. Okay. That's the easy road. What happens then? And this is like in the real, like, I don't know. What you would say? Like, simple. You snooze, you get up, which I don't know why you snooze. 8 minutes. What the hell is 8 minutes going to do? Nothing. It's not going to do anything for your sleep. I think it's part of the devil and negativity to install a snooze button on an alarm clock or a phone.
Facts.
I just turn your snooze button off. You can turn that off on a phone. I don't even have one. But that you hit snooze once, maybe you hit it twice, and then you get up and you have your coffee and you're lounging around like, shit, I got to get ready. So now you've done nothing productive, right? You've done nothing productive
at all.
Okay. And now you're like, oh shit, I'm a little behind. Now you're racing to work. Maybe you get a ticket.
Yeah, or cause an accident.
Yep.
Those people all the time. I tell my
I was going to level it up, but he went straight there. You get a ticket, you're late for work. Maybe that was the second time, third time, etc., whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And then, or maybe worse, you get in a wreck. Fuck up your car. Maybe worse, you get in a wreck, you kill someone. All why? Because you chose the fucking easy road?
And snooze.
You hit snooze? Now, it's very dramatic, right? But those things happen.
No, but that's real.
It's true, though, bro.
It's
One
real.
little thing leads to the next little thing, which leads to the next big
But
thing.
if you got up on time and you had purpose in your life, you wait, the alarm clock goes off and you're like, boom. All right. Thankful to be alive. I'm grateful. Boom. You're starting your day off with being grateful about your life. Because tomorrow's not promised to you. So you start off your day being grateful. The next one, you get up, you go hard over easy. So I'm getting up on time and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go take my supplements. Maybe I'm going to go jump in an ice barrel. Maybe I'm going to take a cold shower, knock out 100 burpees. Boom. I've just stacked 4 fucking wins. It's not even 5:30 in the day. And I've already got up on time, kept my promise to myself, done some training, did an ice bath. Boom. Taking my supplements. There's 4.
It's a complete different day when you start.
Yeah.
Complete different day.
I swear there's something behind good energy, man. I'm not really that like crazy religious, but when you stack up wins, like you just said, it puts good energy in your favor and it almost sets you up to win in the long run. And I've gone both sides. I've done the easy route and I've done the hard route. And
same.
You can see a clear difference when you do the things you don't want to do.
Nick, I'm 41. I'm about to be 41 years old next week. I'm under 10% body fat.
Good for you, bro.
I make let's just say a good amount of money.
Comfy.
I'm comfy. All right. You know what I do every day? I choose hard over easy. Still, I have a fucking comfy life. I could be the most comfiest person. And guess what? When I was super comfy and I took the easy road, I was overweight. My body looked like shit. I was stressed out. Life sucked. I was depressed. I was anxious. Now I choose hard over easy every single time.
There's a pattern there for sure.
And I'm
and I would say too, for people like something that helped me is like, so right behind me are my dumbbells. Every time I walk in the office, I see my dumbbells. It makes me want to lift them. So I did something else right by my shower is my closet. I put the pull-up bar. So every time I get naked, about to take a shower, I do 10 pull-ups real quick because it's right there. And it's like a challenge to me. I know I put it there.
You gotta pay the toll to walk in there.
Yeah. You gotta and if you gotta put those things around you, like wherever your comfy seat is in the house, put a dumbbell there and start doing curls while you're sitting there. This starts building up those habits to where, like you said, you're choosing hard, and it just makes you a way different person.
And then you transfer. Like I like to say, like me and a couple of my friends, I'm like, you just go into cyborg mode. Now you're not even fully human. You're just like part cyborg robot. You know what I mean? And people look
at you too. They're like,
they look at you like, yeah, why do you do all this? You don't have to do all that. I like do it for 30 days and see how you feel. And what's happened is, yes, is life harder? Yes, life's harder. Are you tired? Yes, you're tired because you're putting out effort. All right. But the way you feel is the way you see life is everything is different, man.
For sure.
And if you have little steps, you can accomplish a big thing. It took me like almost a year to build my business. And once it got online, I wake up and I've already made a couple $100. You know what I'm saying?
And not only that, but now, like you could sign up for my program, not even a problem, right? Because you put the work in.
Easy.
You put the work in, the effort, the action.
Yeah, man. I fuck with you, Nick. I appreciate you, bro. You're definitely influence. I'm 36, so you're one of the older brothers up ahead of us, and definitely. I really appreciate everything that you've done, bro. The community you've created, the content that you're putting out, the mindset, the vibe that you're putting out. Honestly, I just want to even go fucking do something productive right now.
So. Yeah, I know, right? I'm all jacked up.
That's awesome, man. That's why I love these. And that's another thing. Like, talk about what you're talking about. Are you an energy thief, or are you having conversations that every time you have those conversations, you're pumped up to do more versus the conversations you probably have all had them. Like you get done with the conversation, you're like, fuck, I need to take a nap. That drained the shit out of me.
I really feel like this is a form of therapy. Just talking, saying this shit. Like I feel great right now. Like I want to go do something productive.
Like on an energy level,
bro. I wrote a stack of notes to this because I wanted to have like a productive, good podcast. I haven't looked at it once, dude. Like it's just a generic conversation that works. And these are all things I need to implement in my life. And I definitely fuck with you and thank you for coming on, bro.
Excellent, man.
I love your vibe. I love what you got going on. Keep it up, man. You're killing it.
Appreciate you guys. Blow this podcast up, man.
That'd be huge, man. I'd love to have you on again. We'll stay in touch. Thanks for coming on, bro. Hard to kill. Semper Fi.